Hi, welcome to this week's video. My name's Paul. So this week's paintings, well, I did about 3 paintings this week and a little bit of drawing, but this is really the only one that I recorded, so this will be this week's YouTube video. And I wanted to talk a little bit about blooms this week. Some people call them blooms or cauliflowers or flowers or run back. I've seen a few people saying and things. But basically, if you have some pigment on damp paper, it hasn't completely dried, if you put more water onto that surface, you can get these blooms occurring. Basically, as the water sinks into the fibers of the paper, it pushes some of the pigment outwards, and that's what gives you that sort of cauliflower shape or bloom shape. And you can see on this painting I flicked water onto the painting, especially on the right hand side, to create some small blooms. But on the left hand side I also have this sort of shape that appeared in the sky. It's a sort of ring, a blue ring, a dark blue ring, sort of oval shape. And I'm not entirely sure why that one appeared. It wasn't something that I tried to create. So it may have been a mistake on my part. It may have been a flaw in the paper, or the sizing of the paper or something maybe. Or when you watch the beginning of the video, it just sort of appears quite quickly. So I'm not entirely sure what caused it. And that's the thing about these blooms. There's so many different factors that can cause them. You know, the type of paper you're using, the surface of the paper, the sizing of the paper, how much water is on the paper. Is it still wet? Is it damp? Is it dry? What about the brush? What's the proportion of pigment to water in the brush and things? So many different factors. I think if you want to understand these blooms and how to use them, maybe the best way is just to get some old scrap bits of watercolor paper and play around and see what happens when you try to create blooms. Other people, of course, will actively try to avoid blooms. It really depends on the style of painting that you enjoy doing. Overall, with this painting, I was trying to get a feeling of something that was looser than some of my other recent paintings, and a feeling of sort of openness. And imagine standing in a field, and it's quite an open field, and maybe even a bit of a windy day. Painting wind, of course, is quite tricky. Not like some of the other elements like rain or snow. But one way you can sort of suggest that there's a bit of a breeze blowing is the sort of sky that you paint. Or maybe if you're painting grasses and things, they can be moving and try and suggest movement in paintings. One of the painters that I think really was able to capture this feeling of movement was Van Gogh. Some of the paintings he did of wheat fields and things. There's an awful lot of movement happening in those paintings. I know some people don't like his style, but even if you don't really like his style, I think just studying how he got movement into the paintings is worth. It's a good way to spend a bit of time. So this is scan then of the final painting. I said that sort of bluish ring in the sky is still there. I don't know why it appeared, but these things happen. Otherwise, the painting, I like it. It does what I wanted it to do, to be sort of open and loose, and a feeling of open countryside. Okay, if you'd like to subscribe, just click on the big red button below, and hopefully see you in the next video.